Hey, good morning, everybody. It's time for another story time, and this time we've got one called Inside the Villians. It's one of Hari's books. And how many stories are in here, Hari?
What?
Okay, the one we're going to read today is called The Wolf. And you can take a look inside the wolf. Good grief, look at all the stuff. What's in its mouth, Hari? And what's inside its tummy?
No, look, there's lots tender billy goats.
Inside of him, oh boy. And what's his head full of? Looks like it's full of brilliant ideas. Regular Wile E. Coyote. I am the wolf, and everyone is afraid of me. Yes, it's true that I sometimes happen to eat, devour little children, little pink piglets, grandmothers, and occasionally even baby goats. But I do love a bit of fresh meat as well. It's greedy, I know, but I can't resist, and thanks to my highly developed intelligence, natural cunning, and exceptional athletic gifts, I always get what I want. I have agreed to reveal myself here, but sensitive souls, beware. Watch out for any chubby little fingers that might slip down my throat. Yum, and one condition. No hunters allowed. Are you a hunter?
No.
Okay, you're allowed then. Let's begin.
But there's no real wolf.
Once upon a time, there were 7 little kid goats who lived with their mother in a house in the forest. And when the time came, the mother goat to go off to the market, she gathered her kids around and warned them, "Be very careful. My dears, don't ever open the door while I'm gone. There's a big bad wolf who roams about in our forest, and you'll recognize him by his deep, harsh voice and his rough black paws. Don't let him in, or he'll gobble you up."
Nom, 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 nom.
And off she went. Soon after that, the 7 little kids heard a powerful at the door. "Open up, little goats," growled a voice. "This is your dear old grandmother. It's actually your dear old mother, and I've brought home a surprise for you all." The kids were just about to open the door when the smallest of the 7, who was the cleverest, cried out, "Stop! Your voice is too deep. Your voice is too harsh. You're not our mother. You're the big..."
Bad wolf.
And they kept the door safely bolted. But the big bad wolf was hungry and had set his heart on delicious fresh little goats for lunch. So he sat and he thought. And before long, he had come up with a cunning plan. He slipped away through the forest to the village store and stole some chalk, which he then used to smooth his voice out. And that's a unique plan. And then he raced back to the goat's house and for a second time. And this time the voice the goats heard was gentle and sweet. "Open up, little goats," it said. "This is your dear old mother. I've brought you all a surprise." "She really does have a sweet voice," cried the delighted little goats. "She really is our mother. Unbolt the door." But just as they were about to open up, the smallest of the 7 and the cleverest of them peeked through the crack under the door and saw the wolf's long black paws. "Stop! Your paws are too rough. Your paws are too black. You're not our mother. You're the big bad wolf." And they kept the door safely bolted. Now the big bad wolf was hungrier than ever. He was hangry. Once again, he sat on the doorstep, and he thought and he thought and he thought, and soon he had come up with an even more devious plan than the one before. He sloped away through the forest to the miller's and stole some flour, which he used to whiten his paws. And then he raced back to the goat's house. For the 3rd time that morning, they heard a at the door. "Open up, kiddies. This is your dear old mother. I've brought you all a surprise." And this time the voice they heard was gentle and sweet, and the paws showing through the crack, well, they were soft and white. She She really does have a sweet voice. She really does have soft white paws. She really is our mother, cried another one. Unbolt the door. And so they did. There stood the... What a shock for those poor little goats. They tried to best their hide, but the big bad wolf was too fast for them, quick as a flash. The greedy animal gobbled them up. Except for the smallest of the 7, the cleverest of them all. He managed to sneak into the... What did he sneak into, Hari? The grandfather clock, and there he waited. An hour later, the mother goat returned home from the market, and she saw at once that something terrible had happened. The house was a mess, all topsy-turvy, with things strewn all over the floor. And where were her kids? Growing ever more frantic, she called to each in turn, "Where are you?" Only when she got to the 7th and littlest did she hear a small voice calling, "I'm in there, mother! I'm in the grandfather clock!" So the littlest kid climbed out of his hiding place and told his mother what had happened to his brothers and sisters, and they both cried bitterly. Oh. Later, when they had dried their tears, the mother goat stood up and cleared her throat. Right! Let's go and find that. Not far from the house, they came upon the big bad wolf lying under a tree, snoring away, sleeping off his enormous meal. But as the mother goat and the littlest kid watched him, wait! What was that? Something seemed to be moving inside that big, fat, full belly. He had swallowed the 6 little goats whole, and they were all still alive. The mother goat quickly hatched a plan. She sent her littlest kid home to fetch all the things she needed. What are they going to do?
Get some string and some big stones.
I wonder what they're going to do with them. He soon came trotting back with a pair of scissors, a long needle, and a reel of black thread. And the 2 of them crept quietly over to the snoring wolf. And the mother goat gently snipped open the fat belly, and out climbed those 6 little goats, unhurt. Then they gathered 6 big rocks, laid them in the sleeping wolf's belly, and sewed him back up. And soon the mother goat and her 7 kids were back home, safe and sound. Before long, though, the big bad wolf woke up. After those hours lying in the sun, he was terribly thirsty. He struggled to his feet and dragged himself over to the nearby well, muttering, "My, those 6 little goats I ate this morning, they're like rocks in my belly. I feel mighty strange." And when he reached the well, he leaned over to take a drink. But the weight of the 6 big rocks, Hari, pulled him down into the well, and the big bad wolf was never seen again. What are your thoughts about this story about the big bad wolf? It's a little different to the 3 little pigs. And is there a lesson in this story? Would love to hear your thoughts. See you next time at Storytime. You gonna wave goodbye, Hari?
But I'm not real kids.
Yeah.